everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So I have always enjoyed watching these mid-year freakout tag videos. I absolutely love them. I think they are so much fun, and since I started my book channel about 6 months ago, I have been wanting to do this mid-year freakout tag like for so long. And it's kind of funny that it actually happens about the mid-year of my first year doing booktube. So if you're new here, hi. But yeah, so I have my list of questions for the freakout tag. I'm just so excited. I've always wanted to do this tag before I even started booktube. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. So the first question is, best book you've read so far in 2022? And that one is, if you don't know me, which I'm sure you do, you probably already know, is In Search of a Prince by Toni Shiloh. This book is about a girl who finds out in her mid-20s that she is a princess of an African island country. And so she goes to the island to meet her grandfather, who she really didn't even know existed. And so she goes to meet him and tries to figure out and pray and ask God, is this what she's meant to do? Is this something that she is called to do? So it's just so good. I love this book so much. It's really great. Okay, so that is my favorite book so far of the year. I don't think it's going to change, but you never know. Next question is, best sequel you've read so far in 2022? So I haven't read a lot of sequels. I've read a lot of first books, but not many sequels. And if I did, they weren't that great. But the one I'm going to be picking for this one is, I just dropped some stuff back there, is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I read this way back in February, I think, and I really enjoy this series. And this is my first time reading this trilogy, actually. I've only read book 1 and 2. I still need to read book 3, but yeah, this was really good. It continues the Hunger Games series, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it, but the cover is really pretty. And yeah, this is my first time reading them. I've watched the movies first, and it got me interested to read the book. So yeah, there's that. Okay, next question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. So does that include like books coming out? No, I guess that would be just like new releases that have come out this year. So let me get out my reading journal. Should have bookmarked that section. There we go. Okay. So yeah, there's a ton here that I haven't read still. The ones that I'm most excited about, let's see. I don't really know exactly which ones I'm really excited for. I guess I'm excited for Veil of Winter by Melanie Dickerson, but I think that one comes out at the end of this month, I think. And it is the third book in her Derrica Tales, which is a new series by her. I still haven't read the other 2, but I plan on doing a video next month all about the first 3. There's a 4th one coming out, so I should have waited, but that's okay. But yeah, so I'm really excited for that one, but that one's not out yet. What else am I excited for? It could be out by now. I don't know. No Small Target by James Tyler Brooks. This one is kind of like an action-adventure Christian fiction, so I'm really excited to try a new author out. And so there's that one. I'm reading Potiphar's Wife right now, and I was really excited to read that one, so that would have been one of my choices, but I'm already reading it. And yeah. Oh, and A School for German Brides by Amy Key Runyon. I really want to read this one. This is about a woman who finds herself during World War II kind of just going to a school to learn how to be a German bride. And there she meets a Jewish woman kind of behind the school, I think. And so, yeah, that one sounds really good. So that would be one of the ones that I'm really excited to read. There's a lot, though. Okay, next question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So my most anticipated is To Love a Prince by Toni Shiloh. It is the sequel to, I should keep these all kind of near me, In Search of a Prince by Toni Shiloh. It is the sequel to this one, all about Princess Brielle Adebayo's best friend in the second book. And this has been my favorite book so far this year. So if In Search of a Prince is as good or even better as this one, then I'm going to have a hard time choosing my favorite because that one was so good. All right, the next question is biggest disappointment. So my biggest disappointment was The Enlightenment of Bees by Rachel Linden. This kind of was one of the very first books, actually might be the first book, where I kind of realized that even though it's a Christian publisher like Thomas Nelson, they might not publish faith-based books. So you have to be careful, because this one had no faith content whatsoever, which I'm fine with as long as it's a clean book. But this one had really, really kind of enlightenment feels to this book, and like new age style. I'm like, this is not a Christian fiction book. And so if it had faith content, or if it just didn't have like the enlightenment feel about it, it probably would have gotten a great rating from me. But because of that, it really didn't. And yeah, I really wasn't super comfortable with it. After talking about it with my friends, I was like, yeah, like this whole book was just kind of a little off for me. So that was my biggest disappointment of the year. Biggest surprise, I had a hard time figuring out what this was, but I think it was Under the Tulip Tree by Michelle Shockley, which was my Christian readathon's book choice that I picked for a buddy read. And everyone who read it seemed to really enjoy it. It was a surprise for a lot of people who weren't sure if they were going to like it or not. And for me too, like I thought I would like it, but I didn't think it was going to be on my top 10 of the year. So it was really good. It was really enjoyable. It's about a woman who finds a job during the Great Depression, a reporter, to report on people who were slaves back in the 1800s. And so she goes to interview this woman who tells all about her life as a slave, and it's just really informative, really good, heartbreaking story, but also really an important story. It was really good. I highly enjoyed it. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? I would have said Tony Shiloh, but I tried to keep different answers for each question. So the one I'm going to talk about is Where the Road Bends. Well, I mean, just Rachel Fordham in general. I read this book and loved it. It came really close to being like my top book of the year. But Rachel Fordham is definitely one of my new favorite authors. I think I'm going to enjoy a lot more of her books. It was really good. It's about a woman who is kind of marrying to save her family's land. And she finds a man injured on her property like a week before her wedding. And she tries to take care of him, and he leaves. And we jump like 5 years later when he is trying to get into contact with her again, and he thinks she's married. And there's different situations that kind of bring them together. It's really good. Really good. I really enjoyed this one a lot. So there's that one. Okay, next question is newest fictional crush. Quincy from Where the Road Bends. Quincy was just great. Like, they describe him as kind of big and huge, but also like kind of tender and gentle, and really trying to better his life and get better with Jesus and read more of his Bible, and to do and help others to have a better life. So yeah, Quincy is definitely a new crush of mine. Yeah. So yeah, that's my answer. And I wouldn't probably have had one if it weren't for that Quincy character, because I don't really have crushes on characters anymore, because I read so many books that they kind of just, like, I kind of forget sometimes. So yeah, so that one. Okay. Next one, let's see, newest favorite character. And again, I'm going to talk about this one. Princess Brielle Adebayo from this book. Oh, she's a new favorite character. Honestly, I wish she was like a real person, because like I think we would be absolutely best friends. Like, I love her faith in God and just asking him for guidance. She seems like the sweetest person who is just so nice and just so strong in her faith. I'm like, we would like be best friends in real life. Like, I know we would. So yeah, that's my answer, Brielle Adebayo. Okay, next one is a book that made me cry. And it's also in my top 10 of the year. A lot of my top 10s are in this. And this is Until Leaves Fall in Paris by Sarah Sundin. I hardly ever cry in books, so I'm surprised that I get to answer this question. I actually cried in 2 or 3 books this year. Not hard, but a little. So yeah, the main character in this book, there's a few things that happened to her near the end of the book that I was just like literally crying in my chair. And my mom, she was like, "What did you do to me?" When I gave her this book to read, she was like, "This is so heartbreaking." And I said, "Just keep reading, just keep reading." It's so good. So this is about a woman who was a ballerina, and she ends up buying this Jewish couple's bookstore before World War II really starts. And so they escape to the US, and she takes care of their bookstore, where she kind of gets involved with the resistance. And there's a man who is a kind of an automobile company owner who ends up having to work with the Germans to build trucks and stuff. So it's really good. It's really, really interesting. I'm actually reading another book that I think has a couple of the same characters, but it took place before this one, so I probably should have read that one first, but oh well, that's okay. All right, next question is, book that made you happy. Monster Friends by Katie Van Dorn, and this book just made me happy. It's a cute, very, I think it's like elementary age graphic novel, but it was so cute. I love the characters. I love the storyline. I love that it's like got this really shy character who doesn't want to leave the house really, doesn't want to have adventures. And then he meets this really outgoing, like have kind of a bunny dog character. You really can't tell what kind of critter she is. But she's like, "Come on adventures with me." And so he's like, "No, that's okay. Like, there's other people down the road that'll have adventures with you." But she's like, "No, you're coming along with me." So she takes him on adventures. They become really good friends. I love that book so much. It was so cute. I ended up buying a copy because I loved it so much. Although now I don't know where it is, but it's probably behind the books there. Okay. Next one is most beautiful book you've bought this year or received. So there's a lot of books that I could put on here, but I'm going to really put this one on here because number one, the cover is really beautiful. But I'm putting this one on because this is the very first gift that I ever received from a subscriber on my channel. And so this one kind of holds a little special place in my heart, as all the books that anyone ever gave me hold a special place in my heart. But this one just, I will forever remember this book since it was like one of my absolute favorite books of all time now, but also because my very first gift from a subscriber. So it means a lot to me. And so yeah, I'm putting that as my favorite, or my most beautiful book. That's a beautiful memory as well. Okay, so the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't even think you guys really want to know. I have so many to finish. I have about 6 reading challenges going on for the year. I'm almost done with most of them. Some of them I only have between 3 to 5 books to fill, which is good. So I'm trying to finish those challenges first. But I still have so much to read. Like it's embarrassing looking at my list in here. So my 22 books to read in 2022. I want to show it now because I want to show how embarrassed I am. But that's the only ones that I've read so far off my 2022 books I wanted to read. Yeah, it's not good. And the orange ones were DNFs, so technically I've only read 4 books from this list. So yeah, it hasn't been good yet. So yeah, these will definitely be hopefully starting to read in the last 6 months of the year. I've kind of been holding off because of my challenges and stuff, but yeah, so these need to get read. But yeah, there's a lot of books. I mean, I've read a ton. Like, I'm gonna need a whole nother page to fill on my bookshelf. But yeah, I don't even know how many books that I have to fill. It's a lot of books I need to read by the end of the year, but I'm really gonna try hard not to force myself to read so much because I've kind of been struggling the last couple of months just reading too much, and it's kind of stressing me out just a little. So I know I need to take it easy on myself and not read so much because I need a little bit of a breather, or maybe just listen to more audiobooks to kind of just relax and take it easy. So that was my last question for the mid-year book freakout tag. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.